Hi and welcome to the RGL CFMA training series. We're up to episode 19 and we're looking at the pit entry, exit and corner cutting on Catalunya Grand Prix circuit and the Silverstone International circuit, which are featuring in round 5 for the 2013 season. And first up with Catalunya, so going through the series of turns that the stewards will be paying the most attention to, which is turn 10. Again, if you're unsure, just check the track map on the fixtures section of the website. And again, this is also employing the corner cutting adjudication as on the forums of RGL. So turn 12 is another one here, very notorious for taking more straight lines, as is turns 13. And of course turn 14 just up ahead here as well. So just keeping in mind to ensure that you don't cut these corners and you won't be penalised. And they are all the corners that we will be focusing on at this stage. Now, going back and looking at the pit entry, what we want to see is drivers moving over to the right hand side after turn 14 as soon as possible. Again, we don't want to find cars on the left hand side of the track as you're looking at it now and making late dives into the pit lane, especially when you've got other vehicles around you, behind you. That way it avoids any incidents, hopefully. So again, make the call early that you're going to pit and move over to the right as soon as possible. So when entering, very important that you do not at any stage touch the white area marked out just in red here with any part of your car. So where this other red line indicates that's the last section of track you'd want to be on as you cross over into the pit lane. So a penalty will be handed down if a vehicle does touch that, and that goes all the way through to the pit entry. So this is the latest point at which you want to enter the pit lane in. Now with the pit exit, again being a traditional track, this makes it very easy. I've marked this area in green just so that it's a little bit more obvious due to the red markings on the track already. But drivers are not to at any stage touch this white line all the way through to the very end, as we'll indicate just here. So you need to stay on the right hand side of this all the way through, and as marked, and this goes all the way down to turn 1, as you'll see. And drivers that are on the actual track racing at the time should not be crossing this line as well when cars are exiting. And again, just marking out this area of, as indicated with the white line, not to cross that at any stage when exiting the pit lane. So, and importantly, when you get to this point, this is a case where the driver exiting the pit has the right to defend their position, but we really encourage communication if there's going to be a very close call as to who is entering turn 1 first. So if a driver is preparing to defend their position, call it, say that you are on the inside or on their right hand side taking the corner, or if you decide to pull out, just say go through, you're free, to the driver. Now onto Silverstone. Now traditionally we've penalised any drivers that cross this area of the line when on the racetrack as this now, rather than exiting the pit. And in this instance now we've got rid of this rule, so drivers can cross this yellow line that's marked in red at any stage when racing, because the pit exit's changed into the far right lane, which we'll show later. So just repeating, you can touch across the yellow line as indicated here when racing, even if you don't have another car nearby. And then looking at corners that stewards will be monitoring, and that will be turn 3 here. This can be taken in a very straight line to enable a better approach into turn 4, which is also going to be monitored due to its tight nature and the ability to get a good launch by straight lining into this as well. So be mindful of those corners. And the final turn that's going to be monitored directly by the stewards is this one, turn 5. Again, a straight line approach for this can obviously gain some time for drivers. But that said, if there are any other turns that are subject to abuse repetitively, they'll be monitored during the review. So these are the key ones. Obviously there's others that can be cut, so we'll pay attention to that. Okay, pit entry. Very important that drivers get over to the right hand side and the exit of the sweeper to allow the drivers continuing to race. A nice clear track on the left hand side there. No late dive into pit. You won't want to, because you will get penalised if you enter the pit lane by crossing the yellow dash line as highlighted in red right now. So ensure that you're already over to the right hand side before you reach this point. There's a white line going across the track at the moment, and you want to be in the position this car is in right now as you head into the pit lane. That way you'll avoid getting a penalty for crossing the yellow dash line. Okay, with pit exit we are changing this up from previous CFMA episodes, and as mentioned at the start of this section of the video, we're using the far right hand lane rather than the left one as indicated with the cross, and this was to make it a little bit easier for drivers not to incur an infringement by touching the yellow line, as well as allowing drivers on track to be able to utilise that area of the track for racing. So use your cameras to gauge where the drivers are on the exit, because by coming out of the right hand lane you are further away and a little less visible to each other. So using those external cameras to see the position of opponents will help, and then obviously communicating the pit exit and sticking as close to the right hand side of the track as possible, as this car will show you in a moment. And at this point here, hopefully drivers will be able to decide who has right of way into turn 2. Obviously if you have a driver that is side by side or very close to it on your left as you exit the pit lane, you should give them right of way, as they have the best line into the next turn. If there is believed to be a gap, then you can try to take turn 2 ahead of that driver, but know that the penalty may be reward to the driver exiting the pit lane. So it's a little bit of risk versus reward. Thank you very much for watching, and we look forward to seeing you at the next episode of the CFMA training series. Goodbye.